Welcome to the Enjoy Life podcast. This podcast is about choosing your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go. I believe that we all make choices in our lives, and those choices are what's going to shape our lives. And you have the power to choose to take steps to make your life more how you want it to be. Now, it is a little bit of work, but the work's worth it because it's your life and you get to reap the benefits of it. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you actionable information, things that I've learned just through my own experience, life, a little bit of formal education, and some experience working with people to make changes in their lives. Everything I do share with you are things that I try to do in my own life because it wouldn't be right for me to share with you things for you to do that I'm not willing to do myself, or at least try to do. If you're willing to take steps so that your life can be more how you want it to be and enjoy it too, then you're in the right place. I'm glad that you're here, and let's get started. Well, hello there. Welcome to the Enjoy Life podcast. I'm your host, Nick Mazie. What do you say we just dive into today's episode? Today, I'm talking about how sometimes things are a lot bigger deal in your head. I don't know if you have ever had something coming up that you were dreading or dragging your feet going toward, maybe something that seemed like a really big deal, and it was just tough for you to be able to move forward into it. Maybe it was an interview, or it could be a change that you were trying to make, maybe starting to get some exercise or starting an exercise routine, maybe making some healthy changes. Maybe it was a family gathering coming up that, when you think about it, you're just kind of dreading it, or dragging your feet and taking that first step. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes those things are a really big deal in our head. And if you're anything like me, or a lot of people that I've talked to, the more you think about it, the bigger of a deal it gets. The more that you think about it again and again, it just grows and gets bigger and bigger, a bigger deal, a bigger pain, or more that you just don't want to do it. It's like exercise. Exercise can be really tough to start. And I like exercise because it's a good example of when I think about it in advance. Sometimes I do not want to go to the gym, or I do not want to start an exercise routine or make those changes. And the more I think about it, the more I don't want to do it, because what I focus on grows. And the more you focus on something, the bigger it gets. Well, if I focus on me not wanting to do something, then it just grows that I do not want to do it. And that's why it makes it so tough to start. But the trick about exercise is that once you start moving, it's not that bad. Once you get a little bit of the blood flowing, and you start to loosen up a little bit, you feel a little good, then you can actually be enjoyable. It's the start. It's the how big it gets in our heads before we actually dive in and knock it out and really get that ball rolling. 'Cause, here's a secret. It's a not so secret. It's hardly ever as bad as you think. You're just starting and getting it done, getting it over with. It's huge. My wife has a little expression, it's like a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid, when you take it off, it's not so pleasant, but you just knock it out, and then it's really not that bad. You just rip it off real quick, get it over with, and you're good. Well, we kind of joke around sometimes about taking the Band-Aid approach. Just knocking it out. It's a lot bigger deal in our minds. And the more we think about certain things, the bigger it gets. Okay, now I get that sometimes we can't just approach everything like, I just need to get some exercise, so I just show up and knock it out. Some things you really should think about, right? Like, what if you had an interview coming up? What if there was something coming up that you really should plan a little bit for, you should prepare for? Well, yes, then you can plan and prepare. Definitely do that. What I want to encourage you in this episode, though, is I want to encourage you not to just continue to think about it and to mull it over and to just play out every single scenario 50,000 times in your mind, so that maybe a little bit of the anxiety or nervousness or what if this or what if that, so that those things continue to grow. That's where it becomes the bigger deal in your head than it really is. If you need to prepare for something, great. Prepare for it, and then remind yourself that you've prepared, and then just move forward. Make sure that what you're doing, your thoughts, your energy, the actions you're taking, make sure they are constructive and leading you to your goal. If you're thinking about something so much that you begin to feel worse, that's not going to help you to do your best. If you need to do a little bit of planning, a little bit of preparation, great. Do that. Make sure you keep it constructive, though. You probably heard me talk about a recent talk that I needed to give to a lot of senior people where I work. I recently completed a leadership development program, and I had to talk to the people that put it on, and all the directors and commissioners and stuff like that, about what I need, about what I learned and my experience, and how beneficial it was, and all that good stuff. But for me in my career, this was a huge talk. Everybody I was talking that was in that room was far more senior, and really can impact my career and where it goes within the organization I work for. So was it a big deal? It was a huge deal to me. But let me tell you, I needed to prepare. But the more I thought about it in my mind, and the more I just really played it over and over what I was going to say, it began to not be as helpful. And this episode's clearly something that I need to work on myself, because the more I think about something, the bigger it gets. And after I prepared for my talk, I didn't need to continue to think about all the ifs, ands, or this or that, or really focus on how nervous or anxious I was getting, because it just made those negative things grow, when really all I needed to do was prepare, know a little bit of what I wanted to talk to, practice a little bit, and then be able to move forward. Now, fortunately for me, I kind of caught myself before it got way too out of control, and my anxiety and nervousness just went through the roof from thinking about it too much. And I started to remind myself that, hey, I had prepared, and that I could do this, and I could do it well. So now I just want to share with you some simple suggestions on what you can do to keep it from being too bad and too big in your head, so that you can make the progress that you want to make towards your goals, and do the things that you want to do. But before we dive into that part, I just want to ask you, please rate and review this podcast, because that is what helps people find it. There's hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there these days, and if you don't rate and review, people aren't going to be able to find this one. So like I said, please rate and review this podcast, because that's what allows people to find it. And also make sure that you subscribe yourself, because that way you won't miss an episode either. All right, on to the rest. My best advice is just to keep it simple. And sometimes that's not as easy as it sounds, but keep it simple. If you need to prepare for something, then prepare. That's it. Keep it simple. Keep it effective. Do what you need to do to prepare. And then know that you've done what you can do, and that way you can move forward and take the steps towards your goals. Really just keep it simple. If you need to practice something, do so. If you're practicing for an interview or for a talk, or what you want to say, excellent. Practice, run through it. Make sure that you can find the words that you want to find, and that you can explain the things that you want to explain, and say the things that you want to say. Do it. And then remind yourself that you have practiced, that you have prepared. Give yourself that little encouragement and that self-talk, positive words to yourself, to remind yourself that you have prepared and that you can do it. Having that mindset that you've prepared is going to be every bit as effective as they're preparing. If you begin to doubt that you've prepared after you have, that preparation is not going to be as effective. So use a little bit of that self-talk and encouragement to get yourself in the right mindset after you've prepared. So if you need to prepare. And also, make it as easy as you can. I don't know if you've checked out the page that I got at nickmazy.com/MAE. That's for Make Action Easier technique. And there's things that you can do to really just take the steps going forward. If it's something that's a task that you need to do, or a change that you need to make in your own life to have more of the life that you want, or get closer to your goals, then make those actions as easy as you possibly can. You just got to knock them out. And thinking about them too much, where they just grow and grow in your mind, is not actually moving you towards your goal. So make the actions as easy as you can, set yourself up for success. And if you don't need to prepare for something, then just do it. Get it done. That way, you don't have to think about it anymore. Because done beats perfect every day. If you sit there and worry about something so much, you're not making progress on it. What's that saying? Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it won't get you anywhere. Well, sometimes thinking about something too much is very similar. So done beats perfect. Just do what you got to do to make the actions as easy as you can, and that way you can just knock them out. Was there anything that you're dreading? Something that you're putting off or thinking about way too much? Maybe a change in the diet, getting exercise, an upcoming interview, speech, a talk, having a conversation with somebody. Well, do what you can do to not think about it too much, either if that's preparing for it or just taking the steps to go for it. If it is really important for you in your life, then yes, you want to do it right. But having a bunch of non-constructive thoughts on it isn't going to help you. Maybe you need a little bit of self-talk, a little bit of encouragement, reminding yourself that you can do it, reminding yourself that you've prepared, that you've done all that you can do to do it at the best of your ability, and give yourself a little bit of encouragement. Because 95% of the time, it's not as bad after you do it. It's not as bad after you start. Just knock it out. You'll be all right. And you'll be past it. And that'll be great. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Enjoy Life podcast. It's my pleasure to put these on. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you get some value out of it. Hope you take some action towards your goals. Because your goals are important to you. That's why they are your goals. And when you take the steps to go in the direction that you want to go, your life can be more how you want it to be. All right. Once again, thank you. Can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode.